Generation Cowboys and Sports Talk. My dad, my partner, my co-host, Cowboy Joe 64.
I am your father.
Just to get the Cowboys 2 good games to hopefully understand that they need to go receiver and go high with this next pick.
Yeah, yeah, that's really what this is gonna be about. All right, you're looking live at Generation to Generation Cowboys and Sports Talks. I'm the host, DJ. I tell you what, I'm joined with my co-host, my dad, Cowboy Joe, also known as Cowboy Joe 64 on Twitter. Or did you change that?
It's Cowboy Joe 64.
Yeah, Cowboy Joe 64 on Twitter, on X, formerly known as Twitter. And we're back with another one today. Today, the name of the title is Five Corners and One DT that the Dallas Cowboys should pursue. So we just wanted to give a little tidbit on some of the moves that we think the Cowboys should be making, moves that they could possibly be making, and moves that would make sense for them to make. I know when I'm watching other YouTubers, and they put things like that in the title, I always fast forward and I want to know who the five corners and who the DT they talking about. So we're not gonna beat around the bush with it. So the DT that we want to pursue is DJ Reader, right? And so you want to say what's up to the people and tell them why DJ Reader would be good for us to pursue.
So what's up to the people? Appreciate you guys tapping in. You got the chat up.
Oh, yeah, I'm
So
finna
if
put
we
it up. Go ahead.
so the reason I like DJ Reader is because he's a veteran. He's not an old player, and I think he allows Mazi to develop. He'll be a great addition to the locker room, and he's a guy that'll just come in. I personally think he would probably be your starter, and he and Mazi could really just kind of be that tandem, that 1-2 punch. Either it's Mazi starting or him starting, whatever the case may be, and that's what he needs. He doesn't need to be in a room with just him and Toya, and so that's kind of where I'm going with that, and that's just one name. So
So
that's kind of my thought.
he needs the veteran presence and the leadership and someone that can show him how to do the role and somewhere
hmm
where he doesn't have to actually just do it all himself. He actually has someone to look up to.
Yeah, and then that way when he plays, we're not wearing him down. And it's a 17-game season, so you need another guy, and so that when Mazi's not on the field, this other guy, you're not losing anything.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we are with it. The Linval Joseph type. We went with him last year and a couple of other guys, and I really want to get someone that's younger and somebody that still feels like they kind of got something to prove. They're young and energetic, so that would be my route. Somebody like that.
Yeah. I agree with that. I think that, DJ Reader, I want to see when was he drafted?
You have to look it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at him now. But he's a young he's a younger defensive tackle, even though he is oh no, he's older. He's an OG. He's 30.
He's
Uh
30.
yeah. Yeah. But I mean, he's only his career oh yeah, he has a long career. But he's still just not someone that's just like off that you should just be like that's on the shelf and you bringing him out of retirement or nothing like that. He had a good season last year. As a matter of fact, looking at the stats of his, he had 3 sacks last year. That was the most he's ever had in his career. And
Yeah.
yeah, so he's not. Another thing too. This this defense with these linebackers. See, the linebacker room is probably the deepest position in our new defense right now. And with this defense that they're running, you have to have good linebacker play in order for this system to work because the linebackers do two things independently without anyone else, and that's stop the run and that's um, covering. So in this type of defense that they run, you only have two linebackers, and you have additional what not cornerback, but additional what's that position called? I'm tripping. My mind went blank. Uh, um, what are cornerbacks and safeties? What are they called?
DB.
Yeah, you have an additional defensive back. So you have two linebackers and an additional defensive back, and you have four down linemen. So your four down linemen, okay, their job is really to be, just stopping the gaps, stepping in the gaps and stopping the run. But the linebackers, they're blitzing, they're stopping the run, and they're covering in some of their assignments, and it's only two of them. So they have to play well. They have to play well. If they don't play well, a play can be blown, and a play can just go wherever. If the run is, you only have you only have four defensive linemen, and if the five linemen or six linemen, including the tight end that the offense has, overwhelms those four, then the only other uh, tandem that could stop the run is the linebackers. The same thing with the if you have six, if you have two or three, if you have a running back running pass, I mean running a pass route, you have two receivers running a pass route and a tight end running a pass route. The linebacker is going to be over one of them. He's going to be
Mm.
over the tight end. You know what I'm saying? So they have to be able to cover because in this defense that he runs, it's easy to create mismatches. Once you find a mismatch, they have to literally say, like for instance, if Jack Sanborn is not doing a good job covering a specific person, um, then he has to be switched because then he has to be switched. And someone like Leofau that's not as good but can probably cover better needs to be brought in because if they don't, then they'll be picking on him the whole game until
And that's
he gets
probably
better.
what's going to happen if we in a nickel and dime. I'm thinking you're going to see Leo foul.
Yeah. Or you're gonna see this is another thing that brings me to the cornerbacks that I want to talk about. Of course, with the big name is Stephon Gilmore, of course. Jair Alexander is one of the names. Uh I had the list pull up, but this is another thing I wanted to talk about. Now, I've been hearing rumors and they've been saying that Wanye has been playing corner so far in so from what they've seen in training camp, uh training camp hasn't started, but what they've seen and just like what they've been doing so far, Wanye has been practicing with the safety group and he's in the corner group. So they're saying that Wanye is going to be playing nickel this year because he has the ability to do it. Eberflus says that he's the only safety that we have on our roster currently that has the hip flex, the speed, the size, and everything to be a cornerback and a safety, which makes sense. We know his brother is a cornerback, so out of Florida State. So Wanye is gonna be playing corner. You're gonna be seeing him at corner, and a lot of people, this is what really made Wanye one of my favorite players. He really is like my favorite player on the defense. He's one of them. He's like top two. Of course, I got Agent Zero and Micah, but Wanye is. If I had to buy a jersey, I'd buy a Wanye jersey. I want to see Wanye win. He brings the energy. He's a young guy. He's the one that I want to see win. But anyways, Wanye on his first play in his first preseason game, his first play, which was the first play, uh the preseason, it might if it wasn't last year, it was the year before last. I think it was the year before last. He
Mm.
caught an interception on the first play. He was playing
Yeah.
corner. He caught an interception on the first play of the preseason. And from that point on, he was just like, okay, this guy right here, who is he? Because you know what I'm saying, he is just one of those guys. And then last year, of course, we playing the Redskins and I mean the Commanders, and Wanye caught that ball on special teams, and he could have put the game away, but instead of putting the game away, he takes it 60 yards to the house because he got to get his shine on. So that's the kind of player that you know it makes everybody smile that we got those type of players that's just like to hell with it. I'm trying to score. You know what I'm saying? Like hey, the defense gonna have to go out there and do what they gotta do, but I got to get my 7 points. I got to get my 6 points. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, hey, so, but Wanye, he was made a key part of the defense. I mean, of the special teams last year. So when you have players like that, like my dad always say, Jimmy had those type of players where they have a role, they just play something. Uh, Wanye on a staff that really didn't just carve out a role for certain players. Wanye was a guy that they just carved out a role for because he has that type of, you know, um, that tenacity that you want to see. He wants you. We want to see him to do something. You if he's not on the defense playing safety, he can play corner.
Yeah, he just needs to play.
He just needs to play. You know what I'm saying? So same with Izzy, kind of Izzy. It's just like Izzy, you can just we just need Izzy out there sometimes. You know, somebody get hurt. It don't matter if a safety get hurt. If a safety get hurt, Izzy can play it. If a corner get hurt, Izzy can play it. We need somebody. We need one of the. We need the gunners to go. We need gunners on special teams. If one of the gunners make a mistake, they need to be taken out. Okay, put Wanye and Izzy out there, please. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how that goes. So Wanye, this is going to be the year that Wanye breaks out, I think. And so that's going to be something that we're going to be paying attention to because I think that he's going to be playing corner. I think that's the answer to your slot corner question. You still want to get a corner, but I think that Wanye is going to in the preseason in the training camp they're gonna be trying to play Wanye at safety, and then he's gonna be playing at corner, and he's gonna be making noise at corner, and they're gonna say, you know what, forget it. Let's just keep him at corner. I think that's what's gonna happen. And he's gonna start the season, or he's gonna be playing 75% slot corner. That's what I think. And then in Eberflus defense, it works because you have an additional DB, and his position is safety. So if you have an additional DB and he plays safety, but in this defense he's playing corner, I mean they're interchangeable in this defense. So it just makes sense for him to play corner. He'll be the slot corner in this defense, and then you'll have Bland on the outside, and then that's where the person that you want to come in and you want to draft, you want to sign a free agent, that's who will be on the other side. It'll be Bland, uh Wanye, and then somebody like Stephon Gilmore, or Jaquan McMillan, or Asante Samuel Jr., or um, Jair Alexander, and Terrell Smith. Those are the five guys that I wanted them to take a look at. And Blogging the Boys posted that. And so,
They
Blogging the
posted
Boys,
what?
five corners. Everybody that I just named, they did a little spiel on Asante Samuel Jr. Uh, and they did on Quan McMillan. So they're saying that Asante Samuel Jr. He has some medicals that he has to get ready to go, which brings me back to Trayvon. Whatever we doing, we're only doing it for about 6 or 7 games, because outside of the 6 or 7 games, if you get to the middle of the season, or you get six games down. Shout out to Thomas Johnson. Put the chat
I
up.
can't see the chat. Yeah,
It says, love Izzy and Wanye, but we got to get some proven DB help in here, and just in case Blandon Diggs not ready. So that's what I was finna say.
that'd be Stephon Gilmore.
Exactly. And that's what I'm gonna say. Shout out to you, Thomas. So with this, we only doing it for 6 or 7 games, right? And so if you get to the 6th game and now your corners are Trayvon, Bland, and Wanye, or Gilmore, or somebody like that you end up, free agent that you end up getting, you're good to go at that time if everybody's healthy. So I think the thing would
And
be
you got your rookie.
easy. No, not easy, but Kyer Elam, and you got Josh Butler coming back, and you
Savon Revel.
got Siobhan Revelle. He should start off on pup, but they looking like they're not trying to start him off on pup. They're trying to push him to be ready, like game 2 or 3. That's what I'm hearing.
So you don't think? Here's kind of what I think about Wanye. I think, first of all, I'm trying to find a role for him and Izzy to play.
Yeah.
I think Izzy has the same issues. He can play safety and corner. He's not as fast as Wanye.
No.
But I'm thinking what's going to happen with Wanye. I think Wanye is going to be pushing Donovan Wilson or other safety.
Malik Hooker. Now we'll know that. And the only reason why I'm saying it like that is because we'll know that because they both make a substantial amount of money this year. So if they're here,
We
they're playing.
might know on June 1st that we
Exactly.
don't have Hooker
Or
or Donovan
Wilson.
Wilson.
And if that's the
So
case, then Wanye is gonna be the safety, or Bell gonna be the safety.
yeah, I like where you're going. I just kind of think my thought is I think Wanye is going to have a role. I just think he's going to be a factor. I don't know if he's going to be playing like corner. He's just going to be, he's going to be down. Probably he's covering tight ends. That's a little bit of slot. He's done a good job with that. We played San Francisco a couple of times
Yeah.
in 23 and
He did a good job
24.
with Kittle.
He did a good job, and
He
of
did.
course in that Tampa Bay game, Izzy was outstanding, and it was just really weird that he played the way he did, and he really didn't get many more opportunities about that. So I have no doubt that Wanya is going to play.
What's good?
What
What's good, Hoodie?
was good?
That's
Da
Hoodie.
Bateman. Okay, that's Hoodie Kush.
Yeah.
Okay, how's it going? Um, Something I was thinking about, just kind of piggyback on your point.
Hmm.
I think I'm kind of leaning toward this is why they don't want to bring Gilmore in because they probably going to be looking at in game 6 or 7 or 8.
Hmm.
If Diggs is playing, if Revel is playing, at that point, your room is kind of heavy now. I'm going to say the same thing I said a couple of days ago. What I'm trying to do, if I'm the Cowboys, I'm trying to figure out a way just to get these guys in the building. And then I've heard, Brian Broadus talk about this, Brad Sham, Mickey Spagnola, the OGs. What they always say is that just give me good players. We'll sort all the other stuff out later. So if my roster has Gilmore, I look up and I've got Diggs and Revel, I'm just figuring it out. I'm enjoying my riches. So but my gut feeling is that's why they don't want to bring in Gilmore, because they just think they're gonna have too many guys in the room. And they want to push these other guys to get healthy and play, which I'm not that big a fan of.
Well, see, you can answer all of that really if you go get Jaquan McMillan. Like I was saying, he's one of the best slot. He's one of the best slot defenders, nickel defenders in the NFL. And the thing about him is the thing of why he shouldn't be available, but the reason why he's available is because they drafted Jade Barron.
You talking about Gilmore?
No, Jaquan McMillan.
Okay,
The
I'm not
Broncos.
familiar with him.
Yeah, he's pretty good. The Broncos drafted Jade Barron, and so we was comparing Jade Barron to Jordan Lewis, and that's how he played, and that's how Jaquan McMillan plays. So they're gonna have two slot corners on their team. So you know, if you looking for if you the Broncos and you looking at draft picks and all of that or whatever, you know what I mean. He's gonna be somebody that they should be interested in. If they want to trade for somebody, that's who it would be.
And then that's interesting too that you're talking about that player, because we still hearing that they want to play Bland some in the slot, and that kind of does make sense. Again, the embarrassment of riches. If you got Gilmore, Diggs, Bland, Revel, then it absolutely makes sense to put some of those other guys on the outside and play Bland in the slot. Now we're hearing that Bland had some pushback on that. He told
Yeah,
Clarence Hill that he's not a big fan
yeah.
of just being a slot guy.
Well, I'll tell
But
you like this: if Siobhan Rivera come back Game 6 and he is who he's supposed to be, and Trayvon is who he's supposed to be, Deron Bland would need to be in them. He won't. That's where he would need to go. And then on top of that, if like Asante Samuel, Jaquan McMillan, those type of players will push Bland on the inside. I know Siobhan Rivera will, Asante Samuel will, Stephon Gilmore will. All of those players, they play outside. Siobhan Rivera does. Stephon Gilmore does. Asante Samuel Jr. he does.
yeah,
Jair Alexander he does.
so Jaire Alexander and Asante Samuel, for me, those are the two guys that I really don't want myself. Uh, but Bland, I can see his argument that, this is his time to get paid. Now, one of the ways the Cowboys can actually just squash all of this, they need to just sign Bland and pay him like he's a corner, which he is a good corner. And
Mm-hmm.
then, once you pay him and you're asking him to play slot, obviously he's going to have some concerns about that on his next contract because he's still a young guy. But I think he'll be able to be okay with whatever contract he gets. But let's see, Thomas Johnson, he said similar to Pickens. Hope the Cowboys push for Ramsey. I want. He said I want what more starters on the roster.
With more fire starters on our roster, more people with energy, more people that can just get it going. Yeah, I want them to push for Ramsey too. I mean, I do, but I don't think that they will. I don't think that they will. But I would love to see that. But I just want to know how much he commanding when he come in because I think he gonna where he trying to break the
Yeah.
bank.
So I think it was Broadus. It might have been. Um, they said that he just signed a contract extension, so they do believe that kind of pushes him out of our reach because he has a big contract. I mean, I think Steven is still in the mix. So yeah, I think anything is possible. But I think
Oh yeah.
Jalen Ramsey for Steven, he's gonna balk at that.
Yeah, he gonna outprice himself. But it makes sense for him to be too much. He just got an extension, and they just drafted Siobhan Rivera. You know what I mean? So and they gotta pay Bland. So you gotta pay Bland. You're gonna have to pay Siobhan Rivera eventually if he's supposed to be who they think he is. They intend on him being good. So you're gonna have you gotta pay Bland already. So if you got to pay you're gonna have a lot of people, a lot of top corners hey, it could be done. Nothing is impossible,
And a lot of people are saying that they should just let Bland walk, and I don't agree with that.
Yeah, a lot of people saying that.
Yeah, so I think Bland is a good player. He's played corner, he's played slot, he's a good dude. So I think that he's somebody that I
Me
mean, right?
personally, I would sign him and let Trayvon. This would be Trayvon last year. That's just me. I don't know.
That's probably what they're thinking. I mean, they have some issues with the way Diggs has done his rehab. So that's kind of what they're thinking. But it's gonna uh it's gonna all play out. But
He was
I
on
think you
Twitter
get.
talking crazy the other day again.
I kind of saw something. What was he saying?
Well, he's
And
just
you saw the thing with
yeah,
Stephon Diggs yesterday or today.
yeah. That's why I was telling you, them two, them brothers right there, they like that. They
They kind of have
drama.
their own brand.
Yeah, they got their own brand. They got their own thing going on. They not worried about nothing. I mean,
And I had no idea they was rolling like that.
I like them. I like them. I follow them. I like them. You know what I
I
mean? But
like I like Diggs when he healthy.
me too. I love them. I love everything. But they definitely have that persona thing going on, the NIL thing going on, to where they'll force out here. They been like that. When they was drafted, we all knew that they was like that because this is like you go to their Instagram pages, they popping out. They got Lambos. They got it all. They got the big houses. They got the pretty wives. They doing it all. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like Stephon Diggs. He got Cardi B is pregnant, but by him. So they like that. So Jerry Jones and them they ain't worried about that. Like I said, Trayvon ain't worried about football. That's not his. He could care less. You know what I mean?
He done got his money.
Yeah, he really could care less. That's why he don't care. That's why he doing his own his own documentary thing, and it's all about
And then the thing about Trayvon that I kind of was thinking, when Trayvon was 100% healthy, he was getting beat. He wasn't always like just he was no Deion Sanders or Reeves Island shutdown corner. He was a very good corner,
No,
but in
but he has a knack, a way of getting the ball.
he does.
He baits you into
He
thinking that
he,
he's
he
not in
does.
coverage, and then he just all of a sudden he's there and he gets the ball. And also
And Bland does that too, but they don't
he
give him a lot
does
of credit for it.
he has like one of the lowest catch radius percentages in the league. I'm talking about,
Diggs,
yes, he has one of the lowest. It's been games like I'm a stat guy. It's certain games and it's certain stats where they be like, it's better for the quarterback just to throw the ball into the ground than to throw it at Diggs in this game. It's just the ratio says, and the percentage says, it's better off if you just throw it in the ground. If you throw it, if you hike the ball and throw it in the ground every single play, you'll have better numbers than if you actually threw it at him. So it's just like
he's a good player.
he is, and He took a deal also, and I think that's why he kind of got that mentality. Like, you listen, man, I don't care what y'all think. I'm coming back on my time. I'm doing my surgery at the end of the year because I want to. Y'all didn't even drop a bag on me like I should have got a big bag. Y'all didn't even give me to me. I took a deal with y'all. So what? I can do what I want to do. So Thomas said, I don't think Bland or Ferguson have earned extensions yet. Prove it year for both. Me, I'm gonna give a little pushback on that. I'm gonna say that. See, this is the Cowboys thing to me. Now, this is the problem with me for the Cowboys. It's just like, my dad has sent me a tweet today that showed that every player out of Micah draft, all of the top 10 players have been paid except Micah. And it's just like, okay, now the Cowboys always pay their players. We understand that. They always do. It hasn't been until recently where they've been like, dang, you gonna just let Tony Pollard walk out the door? But they had already paid Tony Pollard. You know what I mean? It was times where we like last year, it's like, dang, Tyron Smith, y'all just gonna let him go like that? And it's just like, okay, well, he had already been paid too. And so it's just like they pay their players. Zeke got paid, Dak got paid, CD got paid, Micah gonna get paid, everybody get paid. That's one of the things that they do. They just make it long and drawn out. As a matter of fact, they pay players that shouldn't be paid. They paid Michael Gallup and they let Amari Cooper go. So it's just like, what?
Tyrone Crawford.
They paid Tyrone Crawford when it was just like,
Jalen
why?
Smith.
Jalen Smith, why? But here's the thing. The players that deserve to be paid, see, that whole little thing, they do it all wrong. It's just like they could have signed Dak 2-3 years earlier, would have saved them a ton of money. Any other team would have signed him earlier. They didn't. So what you're gonna have is, you want to, you say you don't think Bland or Ferguson have earned it yet. Okay, well, right now, if you pay them, you don't have to pay them at the top of the market. But when they go out and earn it this year, you know what I'm saying?
So
when Ferguson go out and earn it this year,
more than earned it. I agree on Ferg, but even
he says, "Whoa, Bland more, Bland more than earned it." I agree on Fergie, but even he earned another contract. He did. I mean,
why is that star right there in the comments, or is that just on my screen?
Nah, it's on. No, that's a part of the design of the
program.
Thing. Yeah, I can take it off. But here's the thing with that. Ferguson, you want to pay these players why they ain't just superstars. Because if Ferguson go out here and have a good year, and all of a sudden he's one of the number one tight ends, and he gets all pro, now you got to drop a bag on him. And it's the same thing with Bland. If Bland go out here and break another record, now you got to pay him like that. And
I can see both sides of the argument, honestly. I mean, because it's just Bland, Ferguson. They didn't have a good year last year, so I understand that side of the argument. But my thing is that we got to also look at who else do we have. My concern with Ferg, you let Ferg walk. Who's our next guy now? We like Fairweather, the undrafted free agent. Some people are liking Brevin Spann-Ford. I'm absolutely not a Schoon fan. I'm not. So if I can get Ferguson on a decent deal, I would be good with it. And the same with Bland. If we let Bland walk, we're counting on Ravel, our rookie. We got Kyrie Elam. We don't know what's happening with Diggs.
We got Butler.
He's coming off an ACL. So my thing is, a bird in the hand versus the one in the bush. That's kind of where I see it with Bland. I think Bland is a good player. No other DB has more interceptions than Bland, and I agree with that.
Yeah, he does.
So,
yeah,
I think you can get Bland signed, and I don't think you're gonna break the bank. I think you can sign Ferg, and you're not gonna break the bank. And then what I'm trying to do, guys, is what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to build a team from front to back that's got depth, that's got good players. So I got somebody that's just,
a good dude. They humble and they hungry
and they playing
and they vicious.
I'm trying to get them. I'm trying to get them signed. And there's some people, and what you just said, they hungry, they vicious or whatever. That wasn't Michael Gallup. That's not what you did there.
That wasn't Tyrone Crawford. That wasn't Jalen Smith, and that wasn't LVE.
I remember when I was working downtown, I never
Mhm.
will forget this. I was working downtown and I was on my way to my car after work, and they
Mhm.
had the Jalen Smith press conference when he had signed his contract. Zeke was holding out,
Mhm.
and they were kind of like, there was this insinuation that they were trying to get Jalen Smith done to send a message to Zeke. Well, no other franchise would do that. First of all, only
Yeah,
only them.
I remember that.
When I was listening to the press conference, the way they were talking and the way he was talking, it was like, okay, I'm a great player. I'm a Hall of Fame player already. And I've proven everybody wrong, and I've arrived. And not only that, I got paid. That was basically what they were saying. And
Mhm.
when I heard that, I was just like, that was just so crazy that they
Arrogant.
signed this player. And then he's literally in the press conference just kind of bragging, like, yeah, I made it. I came back from the knee injury. I've arrived. And I was just saying to myself, man, this doesn't sound right. And I will say this, uh, with his limitations, he had some games where he played good. And if you had to gave me the choice, that being said, what I just said, if you had to gave me the choice between him and LVE, I would have kept Jalen Smith. But I was just surprised when he signed that deal, the way he was talking. But the guys that we're talking about signing, Ferg, Bland, guys like that, they're not going to have that attitude. They're not going to think, "Oh,
So
I arrived."
I want to tell this. I want to tell a story about. People might not heard this story that Jerry told about Jake Ferguson. So Jake Ferguson, I think it's Jake Ferguson's granddad and Jerry Jones were like buddies or whatever.
Hmm.
It's something like that. It's like Jake Ferguson granddad and Jerry Jones are like buddies or something like that. They were like best friends in high school or college or something that he said. You have to go listen to this. You have to go look up the quote. But they were like friends or whatever. So Jake Ferguson is like, he been knowing Jake Ferguson since he was like a baby. So, anyways, so he said, he walk around the locker room and he greet the players, but some players he know personally and some he don't. You know what I'm saying? So some, he walking through the locker room and some, he chop it up with him before the game and just, whatever. So he said he walked by Ferguson locker like he do every other game. He walked by Ferguson locker. He said he looked at him and he said, "How you feel?" And then he said Ferguson was looking down, chewing on his mouthpiece, and he looked up at Jerry Jones and he said, "Dangerous." You know what I'm saying? And so he said dangerous. That's all he said. One word, dangerous. And so Jerry told that story, and Ferg went off that game. He went off that game. I think it was like the Seattle game or somewhere. He was just like this. You remember that Seattle game where he got into it with Jamal Adams? It was like that
Yeah.
game right there where he was just
Yeah.
like, you know what I'm saying? He was just balling out of control. If you watch Jake Ferguson highlights, he is a yak god. He catch the ball. Sometimes Jake Ferguson be moving so viciously and so swiftly that he be leaving the ball behind. Like he'll catch the ball back here and he already like stiff
But,
arming
and
somebody.
a lot of our fans, they don't like Jake Ferguson. I don't
Oh
get that
man,
part.
me
And then,
neither.
last year with Dak being out, he got injured, he had the concussion. So one of my predictions is that I think Jake Ferguson is gonna bounce back. I think he's gonna have a good year. I do think Brevin Span Ford and Fairweather, John Stevens, if he come back, I'm my prediction right now is they're gonna have to justify keeping Schoonmaker on this roster.
Well, I don't think that they're gonna do it because he don't have a sponsor no more.
Well, I've heard people saying that. So his sponsor, Shotty was a part of the staff when he got drafted, but
Yeah,
that
but
was
that
Mike
wasn't his.
McCarthy.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
wasn't his pet. He didn't draft him. He didn't really. You know what I'm saying? He ain't.
that's
You know
true.
what I'm saying? And then on top of that, Shotty is Shotty, it is what it is with Shotty. It's just like, hey man, if you're not producing, but you got to give. I don't, as much as I say this, last year, Schoonmaker, he did what they asked him to do. You know what I'm saying? Like he did what they asked him to do. I don't remember him whiffing on blocks last year. I don't remember him jumping off sides and making stupid plays and
He played
causing us a
better.
game. Yeah, I don't remember that. I remember him. I remember him just, being just an average tight end last year.
Yeah,
I,
but
I
I
was even
just don't
shocked.
think I don't think there's anything special about him. He's not fast. He
Nah.
doesn't have great hands. He's an
Mm-mm.
average blocker. His blocking skills were very overrated.
He he
He
he
gets hurt a lot.
he plays nervous.
He plays nervous. Brian Brothers always talks about how he doesn't catch the ball smooth. He fights the ball.
He
So look,
does.
now my thing is, if you tell me that Schoonmaker is a fifth round pick, it is what it is. But he doesn't play to be somebody that was taken where he was. And at the end of the day, I just think they're going to be guys on the team. They're going to outplay him. Let's see. Dak goes hard after serious injury. Ferguson thrives with Dak.
He
Yeah,
does, man.
I agree with that.
Me too,
BA.
100%. And let's not forget, Jake Ferguson is a Pro Bowl tight end. He was a substitute, but he should have made it anyway that year,
Yeah,
2023. He had a Pro Bowl year.
I think he gonna bounce back. I
I
think he gonna
mean,
have a bounce back year.
like I said, I don't think he fell off. He just got hurt like the rest of the team
So what?
did.
Pull up his stats from last year. Yeah, I know he didn't have no touchdowns.
But that's the thing. He got hurt,
Yeah.
and
Well,
just like
we watched it in the Cleveland game. That was almost like a season-ending injury. He was very lucky that he wasn't knocked out for the year. And then he got a
uh,
concussion, which I didn't even know about.
right,
But yeah, I think at the end of the day, I think he's
he
gonna
had
bounce back.
494 yards last year,
See, what did he had a year before that?
761,
And how many touchdowns?
5.
Yeah, so I think, look, if he goes back to that previous year and just improves on that, I think he can. I
I
don't think
mean,
the Cowboys right now. He's a starting tight end for Dallas. He's gonna get the plays. So I just think he's gonna have a good year. The only thing that's gonna stop Jason from Ferguson from having a good year is just him getting injured again. Other than that, I think he's gonna ball out. For me, the question is the number 2. I'm not concerned about the number 1.
nah, because I mean, I'm just looking at all of these tight ends, and I'm just looking at like, I mean, Brock Bowers,
Yeah,
McBride,
he's in the
Kittle,
league by himself. So look at Sam Laporta,
Sam Laporta, Kelsey.
Kincaid.
Those are the only. No, I wouldn't take Dalton Kincaid over Jake Ferguson.
Oh
I
man,
wouldn't.
I
Uh,
like Kincaid. I
I wouldn't
like.
take him over Ferguson.
Would you take Laporta over Ferguson?
Yeah, I'll take Laporta over Ferguson.
And they could have had Laporta.
They could have. I would have
Yeah.
took, Laporta. I would take Laporta, Kelsey, Jono Smith, Kittle, McBride, and Bowers over Ferguson. But other than that, I'm not taking.
And Da made a good point. I'm an OG from back in the day. As great as Jay Novacek
Right.
was, when Troy Aikman got hurt and Jay Novacek was playing with Jason Garrett, Jay Novacek numbers went way down. So those quarterbacks and tight ends, they have that
They have
connection,
the
and
chemistry.
that's Dak and Ferg
And
for
Ferg.
sure.
I'm not taking Goddard. I'm not taking Noah Fant. I'm not taking Njoku. I'm not taking
No.
Dalton Schultz. I'm not taking none of them. I'm not taking Cade Otton. I'm not even taking Cal
Now
Pitts.
I like Dalton Schultz, but I wouldn't take him over Ferg. What did Laporta and Kincaid do on the numbers last year?
Laporta had 726. But he had a down year. He had a
And how
bad
many
year.
touchdowns?
He had 7 touchdowns.
What did Kincaid do?
Let's see. Dalton Kincaid is way
And I'm talking
down
about
on the list.
Kincaid and Laporta because those were the guys in that draft when we took Schoon and we was going to take a tight end. Those are the 2 guys we should have taken. We should have taken Kincaid or Laporta, and we could have took Laporta because he went the top of the second round. We could have took Laporta instead of Mozzie.
But
then the
Dalton
other one,
Kincaid, they jumped us to get him.
what did Kincaid have last year?
Yeah, he had 448 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so Ferg had a down year and he had a better year than Kincaid. And I think with Dak, he would have been right there with Laporta. So I think.
Well, he got hurt. Like I said, our whole team was hurt. I don't think it's fair how these other, everybody be like, I'd be like, so what happened with the 49ers last year? Their whole team was hurt. Well, what happened with us?
And the 49ers going to be back. People underrating them too.
Underestimating them. They be like, what happened with us? I mean, what happened with us? Oh, we couldn't get our offense and our defense. It's like, nah, bro, we got hurt. That's what happened. Dak was done for the year. Don't give the 49ers a pass and then say it with us. It's just no. Ferguson was hurt. He was playing injured. The people forget CD almost tore his arm off last year.
Yeah.
They had to basically tell him, "Listen, dude, this season is done. You need to chill out before you hurt yourself more than you can, come
And
back
with
from."
everybody hurt, we was a couple of games away from making the playoffs.
If that guy wouldn't have caught that ball, touched that ball against the Bengals, we would have probably been in the playoffs.
Yeah.
We was one game out at that point. If we would have won, if we would have beat the Bengals like we should have, then that would have made like the next 2 or 3 games we played. All we would have had to do is win one, and we would have made it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So going back to where we started, I think it's really interesting you came up with that topic because man, this cornerback thing, man, it's gonna be really cool watching camp and preseason just to see what's happening with Ravel, what's happening with Diggs, how what are they doing with Bland and Kyrie Elam. He could be a surprise. So what I want to do against Philly in that opening game, I would love to have Gilmore just so that we can go into that game and just not get smoked because we got guys out there that AJ Brown and Devontae Smith are just gonna
I
just
think
run up and
people,
down the
I
field
think
on.
people give it the Eagles too much. Like, yeah, with that, yeah, they won the championship. I get it, and be, you have to be. They had the best offensive line in the league. I get that. They had the best defensive line in the league too, and they had a good running game. And you got to have some kind of luck, and they had all of those things hit at one time, but they
And they
not.
stayed healthy the whole year.
They stayed healthy the whole year, but they not like they're not like that, and I just don't see them being like world beaters or like how Kansas City was when they went on how they been for the last 5 or 6 years. I don't think that at all. The Eagles are just one year removed from getting put out the playoffs in the first round. That just happened to them last year, like it happened to us, and then they won a championship, which we haven't done. But I mean, look at Washington. Washington made it to the NFC Championship last year, so we got injured, and we have to face that. But I just don't see that. I just don't think that they just like, oh my God, they're the best team in the NFL. I don't see it like that.
Yeah, and they playing the same schedule that we're playing. So let me look at their schedule right quick.
They playing the same schedule we playing. I just think that,
So
like,
check this out. So they got us on September 4th. The following week, they playing at Arrowhead. Then they playing the Rams at home. That ain't gonna be no easy game. They go to Tampa, not an easy game. They play Denver. I don't know.
the Rams would have beat them in the playoffs if it wasn't for the
It was
weather. Go
snowing, yeah.
ahead.
Then they got the Giants. Then they play at Minnesota. Then they got the Giants again. They play at Lambeau Field.
What month and day is that?
It's November 10th, so it's gonna be cold, but not as bad. They play Detroit at home. Play us again. Then they play at Chicago. That's not too bad. They play the Chargers in LA. It's gonna be a hard game. They play the Raiders at home. Then they close out with the Commanders.
Hard game.
And then their last game is against Buffalo.
Hard game. Yeah, gotta also believe that they had something to prove too. We go out there with a half-ass defense and we would get embarrassed. I agree, but
Yeah,
I
we're gonna
think
get
that
him. We're gonna get embarrassed if our corners are the rookie Ravel,
that's gonna be
Kyrie Elam,
bad.
and Bland. You're asking for it.
Yeah, you're asking for it if that's the case.
Yep.
But like again, you know what I mean? Like we got some premier pass rushers on our team.
We're gonna need
And,
them.
we have a deep linebacker room. So,
Now,
you
one of
know,
the things that you're gonna balance that off is with, we got corner issues too, but I don't think their corners are gonna be able to cover Pickens, CD, and I
well, that's
think
a given. You know what I mean? I
yeah,
don't, yeah, that ain't not half of the league can't do that.
and I think they're gonna have matchup problems with us when we have the ball.
Yeah,
With
that's what kind of
Ferg.
game it's gonna be. It'll be the type of game to where our defenses are undermanned and our
Mm-hmm.
offenses are high powered.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be what it'll be. We did
Then
well splitting up the offense
we
side of the
gotta
ball.
look at
Yeah,
how
we
we
gotta
can
try
run
to
the
keep it
ball.
real lights at DB and DT. Yeah, and That's to me, like, how they say you have good problems. This is a good problem to have. Man, just think about it. Just think about what we would be talking about if we hadn't shored up the offensive side of the football.
Yeah.
Think about what we'd be talking about right now if we didn't have George Pickens and if we didn't have Blue and if they didn't draft Tyler what's his name? Tyler Booker? No, yeah.
Yeah,
If they
Tyler Booker.
we would be singing a whole nother tune if they just went if they had went and got another DB and
Then
a
they got
DT.
Sanborn and Kenneth Murray.
I
Uh,
mean, we would be
so
talking a whole
so
different
to
tune.
Thomas' point, I've been saying this for weeks. We just a couple of moves away. I think we need another one tech. We need a 3 tech behind Osa. Then you're
Yeah.
good there. And then you need Gilly. You need Gilmore. If you just make those 2 moves,
Hmm.
I think you're gonna be in great shape. Now, there's a lot of people that are gonna say we need a running back as well. We
I
just
think
got to see
Javante
who's
Williams
out
and
there.
Blue and Maffa are gonna surprise some people.
They could, and the running scheme is hopefully gonna help them as well. But
Yeah.
yeah, we a couple of moves away. We're a couple of moves away, and just good health. If we have that, we're gonna be very competitive. Now the schedule, we just looked at the Eagles schedule. The Commanders are playing the same teams. I really kind of feel like the team that wins this division, they're probably gonna be 10-7 or 11-6
Yeah, the team that
because of the
win this
schedule.
the team that win this division are gonna be good candidates for the NFC Championship.
Yeah. Well, I saw an article today. They're saying the NFC East is the best division in football, which I just kind of had to just think about that. So I had to think about the AFC West with Kansas City, the Chargers, Denver. I think our division is better. Then you got the NFC North with Minnesota, Green Bay, Detroit,
That's
Chicago. You think that's
yeah.
the best? And you got to
Uh,
remember, Minnesota's going to be playing with a sophomore quarterback. They lost their starting quarterback,
they went like
but they
15-0 last year.
but they got a good team.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, we're gonna have a. It's gonna be
And then you got Caleb Williams and them, and they got what's the name now?
yeah. Detroit is gonna be an interesting team. Now, when we play them up there, it's gonna be a hard game because Ben Johnson, what he gonna try to do, his rookie year, he gonna try to make the Cowboy game be his come out game. That's what he gonna do. He's that kind of guy.
Why wouldn't he make the Detroit game be that game?
Well, that's gonna be too. But Dallas is still Dallas, so
You
he
know,
gonna try
he
to.
he's in his same division, so he gonna be playing the division rivalries that they've been playing because he stayed in division.
But I think they play Dallas before they play Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Well,
he gonna pull out all of the stops.
yeah, he gonna do that too. And then you got Eberflus. He gonna try to embarrass Eberflus.
Yeah, well, Eberflus is gonna have to be on his P's and Q's, so it's gonna be interesting. But yeah, it's gonna be really interesting to watch what's gonna develop over the next few weeks. We got the June 1st coming up. So what day is June 1st on again? You might
June
start
1st is
seeing
right
some
there.
things on Friday and Saturday.
Kevin, shout out to K Rock. He said he expect Jaden Daniels to have a sophomore slump. Mm-hmm.
But I do you one better. If we had been healthy, K Dub, we would have been in an NFC Championship game last year. I think we would have beat them. We beat them once, and the second time we played them, they ended up pulling Jaden Daniels in the fourth quarter because they just saw they wasn't putting us away, and they was like, we just taking him out.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really think they're a better team than us when we're healthy.
Nah, not them. You know what I mean? I mean,
And
you.
their receivers,
Mm-mm.
let's say this, and then we're gonna wrap. So they had like this. They sending out these top 10 receivers lists, and as I told you, they had CD as number 3. I saw a couple where he was number 2. I think he's number 2. I like him better than Jefferson. You like Jefferson better. I've got Chase as my 1. But they had Terry McLaurin on that list.
Why wouldn't he be?
Well, this is what I said. I sent someone a tweet. I said, my son, he had Terry McLaurin on his fantasy. He needed the final game. He needed Terry McLaurin to have a good game to win the championship, and you ended up winning anyway. But going into the fourth quarter, he had no catches.
This
And
is true.
I've seen him do that before. So my point was that doesn't happen with Chase, CD, or Jefferson.
Nah.
You don't see that happen. So I don't think he's a top 10 receiver. I don't.
Well, I mean, I mean, that's an argument because he can definitely be left outside that list.
Yeah, he's a good player, but I don't think
Mhm.
he's. I got to see the list again. But
Shout out to you, Marcus. Yeah, and it is on a Sunday. The first June 1st is on a Sunday. He said Alexander going to stay in Green Bay. They working on an extension. Seen it yesterday. Okay, Jair
yeah,
Alexander. Okay, and he
yeah,
said the whole thing about we duos is ridiculous. Yeah, I get it because that's where the league is going. It's just the league is going that way. You know what I mean? To where you got to have two good receivers. You can't just have
man.
one.
I would not have an NFL team ever in my life if I don't have a 1A and 1B receiver. That would
Yeah.
just be like I would just
Mm-hmm.
insist on it. If I was a GM,
Mm-hmm.
and they never did that with Dez, which that was disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
That would have extended Dez's career.
Yeah, Terrence
And
Williams wasn't it.
no, definitely not.
Mm-hmm.
So what they doing with CD with Pickens, I wish they had did that with Dez, and
Mm-hmm.
Dez would have been fine with it. It would have extended his career. But I'm never fielding a team without a 1A and a 1B receiver
Nah, it's
again.
just no. No, that's gonna and you're gonna see that this year. That you're gonna see that it makes a hell of a difference.
And I think we're gonna be able to sign Pickens.
Well,
I really do.
yeah, of course they should be able to. I can tell you a few things that they can do to sign him right now. I can tell you something they can do right now to sign him. It ain't even that. You ain't even got to crunch that many numbers. If you just don't bring back Trayvon, you good.
Well, yeah. And once you get Michael signed,
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Smith,
You're
Deron
good.
Bland,
You can sign him right
you
now.
creating cap space. So the Cowboys, an underrated story is that their cap is in really good shape, and they can actually make it better just by signing some more guys. So
Yeah,
no,
they
we
got
don't
more
have
money
no.
than they got more money than we expected them to have right now.
Yeah, so they've kind of corrected that. So, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so that's why I say we can get some of these deals done. There ain't no excuse for Michael not to be done. That's just gamesmanship. So we gonna see,
This is
what
just what
happens
they
there.
do. They
There's
say
no
that's
way
what they
Terry
do.
McLaurin and D.O. Samuels. I agree.
No, it's not.
And Debo, to me, he looked overweight. So
And I'll do you one even better. It's not AJ Brown and what's his name is not better than CD and Pickens.
I don't think so.
Mm-mm. Well,
Devontae
AJ,
Smith, I like
no,
Devontae Smith, but he's not better than
George
Pickens.
Pickens. No, he's
No,
not.
he's not.
Mm-mm.
Devontae Smith is just real crafty. He's real quick. He's real fast.
Mm-hmm.
Quick. He runs. He's a you like him. He's a route guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's got good hands.
Definitely
But
does.
but yeah, I think we have a better duo. But no, Terry
Yeah.
McLaurin, that he's
Terry
not up there
McLaurin
with
is a
them.
good. Yeah, he was a good receiver. You can argue that he shouldn't be up there with them though.
Now, are you gonna have him again on fantasy? How does that work?
Well, it just depends on who's available when I draft. You know. It just depends on who's available when you draft. You just draft. Somebody might take him, or it just depends on who's there when I draft. When I do my fantasy this year, I'll make sure you see that you watch me draft, or we
But
do it.
but going back to Debo,
Mm-hmm.
Da, the issue with Debo is you just have to have guys on your team that are willing to tackle and that want to tackle.
Mm-hmm.
The way we done rebuilt our defense, we got guys on our defense that they're gonna be looking for smoke.
Yeah, they're gonna be trying to lay him out,
Yeah, they gonna see Debo coming. They're not gonna be shying away from contact or trying to put it on him. We didn't
and he's
have
not a likable guy either. So
yeah
they gonna be like trying to get at him.
yeah your Damone Clarks, your LVEs.
They not here
They
no
ain't
more.
trying to tackle Debo.
They ain't here no more either.
Yeah. So what did
Guys like
Ravel's
Kenneth Murray, guys like Micah, Kenneth Murray, and guys like Jack Sanborn, they're gonna try to lay Debo out.
yeah, and he's still a physical player, but that's the thing, and he's been banged up a lot too. So
And he play
I'm
like that. That's how he play. He one of them players that he gonna be banged up because he try to run, he try to hit you in the
and
mouth.
the way we rebuilt our defense, that's the kind of defense you need to have to stop Jaden Daniels too.
Yeah, Jaden Daniels is a good quarterback. He just, he gonna have a sophomore slump like everybody else does, I believe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just, but they got a, nothing against the Commander. They got a good squad, but I just don't think that they're a better team than us.
Oh yeah, they're gonna be formidable. I mean, like I said, the NFC East, it's old school. That's the way it was back in the day. I
Like
mean,
ain't
we had
nobody
to.
talking about Malik Neighbors. To me, he one of them ones. I think he's unstoppable. I think if you give him the right quarterback, he's unstoppable.
Boy, your uncle Eric, he loves Scatterboo. He thinks Scatterboo should have been in the first round.
Scottaboo is not gonna even be playing like that.
Okay, well,
He might, but
but
he probably
that's
gonna be
what
like
he think.
if Scottaboo probably gonna be getting averaging like 2.73 yards a carry, something like that. But we'll
Man, he
see.
he thinks Scatterboo is gonna like do some damage.
Why did he like Scottaboo like that?
Just like him.
Scottaboo was
You
like,
watched him in that game against Texas.
yeah, Scottaboo almost didn't get drafted.
Well, he went the third round.
He shouldn't have, because he ain't better than like Jaden Blue and the rest of those guys. Martinez, he not better than them.
Well, you finna see a lot of Scatterboo. You finna see a lot of
I'm cheering for Scottaboo. I hope he do good, but I just don't think he that.
Malik Neighbors.
Malik Neighbors is like that. He's one
Yeah,
of them ones for sure.
we finna see them. They got Russell Wilson, so I'm not
When
that
we played
concerned.
when we played Malik Neighbors and them, when we played them last year, he caught damn near every pass that they threw to him.
I thought Diggs did a good job against him.
No,
That
no,
first time we played them,
no. He liked that, you know. I mean, well, he did a good job. The first time we played them, he did a good job against
the
him.
second
But
time we played him, he didn't play. Diggs wasn't there.
right, but Malik Neighbors is just like he's the one on their team that you have to put an X on. Got to follow
Yeah,
him.
I mean he's a good player. I
He
like
is.
all of those receivers.
You know,
Oh yeah,
I didn't even know that he went to
he went to LSU, right?
yeah, he did. He
Yeah,
came out with Jaden Benton.
they've been putting out some receivers. So yeah, the receiver they had that got drafted last year, they went to Jacksonville. I can't think of his name. He turned out really good too.
Mm, that went to Jacksonville.
Yeah,
Can't think of his
he
name.
play he came from LSU, I believe.
Mm.
Man, yeah he really played good, and we had him on our radar too when we did the draft.
Brian Thomas.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's him.
yeah, he is good. Yeah, he's good.
Cowboys could have drafted him. So let's go
Yeah.
ahead and wrap.
Yeah, so we appreciate y'all for jumping on with us. We counting down to June 1st because it's gonna get interesting after June 1st cuts hit. So once June 1st cuts hit, that Sunday. So after that, it's gonna be Monday morning and Tuesday. It's gonna be popping because it's gonna be some players that's gonna get cut from our team, and it's gonna be some players that get cut from other teams that we're gonna be out there fishing to see any holes that we can fill on our roster. So we should have a lot to talk about next week. So
And then we'll see what happens on Friday if some of these cuts come down Friday, and then Saturday. If we do our Saturday Night Live, we might have some cuts then. So we'll
yeah.
look at are we gonna do Friday or Saturday because we've been doing our Friday shows. We've been getting a lot of viewers.
Mm-hmm.
Now the last show that we did was that Saturday. It had all the viewers. It was
Yeah.
Saturday. Our
Salute to you,
Saturday.
Thomas.
Appreciate it, Thomas.
Yeah, we be getting a lot of views on them. On them, one of them had like 500 or 600 or 800 or something like that, right?
Yeah, I think the Friday night and the Saturday night is kind of like our sweet spot. So
So the Basement Boys, he joined. So Hoodie dropping his channel. So I put it. I
yeah,
put it on the thing. It said I got the channel up. So just no videos or content yet. The Basement Boys. So as soon as you drop your channel and put a video up, I'm gonna repost it. So
yeah,
y'all
yeah.
shout out to Hoodie, the Basement Boys. It's gonna be jumping, and y'all make sure y'all
We got to ask him about the name.
yeah. We gonna ask you about the name. So I'll probably have to DM you. We see what's going on with that, and then you can probably come on and we promote your show. We can promote your show, and then we can have you on, and we can kind of do like our own Cowboys collective type of thing. And so, but yeah, y'all make sure y'all like, comment, and
And Lou
subscribe.
was on too.
Oh, shout out to Lou.
We got to do something with Lou as soon as we can. But
Yeah, if y'all
yeah,
wanna, yeah, Lou.
Lou put out a fire video
Hey,
about the Cowboys offensive defensive
I
line.
was just gonna say that.
Some of the guys that he had on that video, I didn't even know were on the team.
Hey, yeah, I need to check out Lou's takes. Okay, very
Yeah,
knowledgeable. If you want to know anything about, not just the offensive defensive line, but specifically that,
Now
Bishop Dunn's finest.
Lou is the Yoda
He's the GOAT.
of the trenches
He's the GOAT
when it
for
comes to
sure.
Cowboys
Nah, for
content.
sure.
So
Bishop
yeah.
Dunn's finest. We in the building. So
Hmm.
y'all make sure y'all check him out. And we'll see y'all on the next one. Like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell.